Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Shellfish and I hope you're doing well. This is episode 2 of Night Call, folks, and this is when we're really going to start getting into the nitty-gritty of this game. We're going to start interviewing people, we're going to find that killer. If it's the last thing we do, quite literally, folks. So without any further ado, let's go. Alrighty, folks, and we load back on in. I like that the loading screen is a road down in the bottom right corner. That's kind of cool. Night 1, still in night 1, 18 minutes in, I think. And we're doing okay for gas at this point. So let's see. This gentleman is close. I'm still not totally sure how we're supposed to predict where people want to go. And I've come to the understanding that this game is like really heavily based on time. So, okay, so he's not even going a kilometer. I just want to ride around, he says. That is interesting. That's sketchy. I don't like that. I think this is the first real suspect we have so far. When you see your next passenger, your first instinct is to prepare yourself for a fight. It was. It's almost automatic. Something about the way she holds herself. Her super wide shoulders, her hands opening the door. Her huge hands opening the door, rather. The woman must be a champion weightlifter or something. Her name is Chantal. She says, "Good evening, sir." You're not particularly surprised by her low voice, but there's something incredibly gentle about the way she looks at you. That's either good or bad. Chantal says, "Could you please drive around the outer belt?" Seriously, and we'll go with of course. Of course, that's the happy. We'll keep her happy so she doesn't murder us. Perfect, perfect, with her huge hands. She settles into the back seat and you start driving. The taxi leaves its parking spot and starts up an avenue, down a boulevard. After a few minutes of calm and silent driving, you get to the outer belt. You're probably wondering why I want you to do this, aren't you? Yeah, a little bit. A small yawn takes over her face. It's none of my business. A bit. We'll go with a bit. I can't sleep. A car ride is the only thing that soothes me, and I lost my license, thus you. That's fair. Pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, I guess that's fair. She smiles weakly. The lights on the outer belt line up on the dashboard. Oh, excuse me. The lights on the outer belt line up on the dashboard, and your passenger blinks. I don't know if it's the light, the way they're placed, or the back and forth between tunnels and bridges. I don't quite know what makes me. The outer belt puts me to sleep. Interesting. So tonight, since I cleaned out most of my colleagues playing tarot, I'm treating myself to a little... She smiles, all the while closing her eyes. So this lady has fallen asleep in our back seat. She's also kind of glitching out, as are we. I don't really know what's going on with that. The enormous woman on your back seat begins to snore. So she's out. The clock's ticking, though. We can just keep driving, I think. You smile and keep driving without so much as another word. Amen. Little by little, her snoring subsides and gives way to bits of phrases. She is unaware she's mumbling. Here we go. That's him. I'm totally in love. Who wants me dead? Oh. Your passenger wakes up abruptly. Take me home. I'm ready for bed. She falls asleep again as you exit the outer belt to bring her home. In back, discreet, peaceful, hypnotic snoring. You shake your head and attempt to push away your own violent desire to sleep. ... Many long minutes later, you return to the pickup point. With her eyes still shut, your passenger takes a wallet out of her back pocket. You know, I can't sleep because I'm consumed. Consumed with an idea. She opens her eyes. The world we live in, our current situation, it could all be taken care of if I took a gun and shot a pile of lead into our government. That is not the way. Not yet, folks. No. You can't believe your eyes. Line them up against a wall, one after the other, and bam, bam! This lady is deranged. Bam! Yeah, a little bit. Bam! She smiles. Her fingers reach out with cash. Her money's green, though. Her money is green. Then I would sleep soundly. But only if our president, our government, only if they were all lying at the bottom of a mass grave. Hell of a way to start a YouTube video. I'm sure the algorithm's gonna love this one. Unmarked, no gravestone, and total and utter indifference. That's what scares them the most, not leaving any mark behind. As slow as humanly possible, she hands you a bill. Thank you for everything. You were perfect. She gently opens the door and slides outside. My goodness, folks, I don't believe she was our killer that we just picked up. I just believe she was slightly deranged. Probably had a tough hand at life. Tough deck of cards. She gently opens the door and slides outside. She closes it behind her and walks toward her place without a word, almost like she were sleepwalking. Once she shuts the door to her building, you get back to your night. And just dying to sleep, I can imagine. We only made 3 pounds off this lady? That is ridiculous. But I mean, like, at least we escaped with our lives. You know? Alright, let's get this guy. Or this guy, maybe? I want to get the sketchy people, you know, like the people that I'm heavily judging their book off the cover. And this guy's pretty close. I missed the last train. I'm going to St. Owen. Owen. We'll take you there. You pull up to the sidewalk to pick up the passenger who ordered a cab. You can just make him get out, surrounded by 5 or 6 cops, all too familiar scene. What? Every so often, the low, ominous tones of an officer's voice makes it to your ear. The circle of cops break up. You see your passenger. He heads over to the cab and gets in. Oh, this guy's looking right at us. Look at him. Oh, I don't like it. He slams the door and lets rip. Oh, boy. Motherfucking cops. He gives you his address and you start the car. The passenger stares out the window at the passing road as if to calm himself, but he's not. He's looking at me. You take a quick look in the rearview mirror. What was that all about? Everything all right? Yeah, sure. This guy's name is Cater. Almost like Tater. They're afraid to lay a finger on us nowadays. Don't want to get blown up. That's a weird thing to say. An ironic half smile appears on his face, and then immediately disappears, as if he's pleased at the thought of cops blowing up. He knows a bad joke when he hears one. What a fucking pain in the ass. Can't go out without getting screwed by each and every one of those sumbitches. If you're not wearing a goddamn beret, if you happen to be wearing sweatpants, then yeah, right, you're a fucking hood. He smirks Riley, then raises his voice an octave. Your papers, please. Oh, that's fun. He's doing like, yeah, I know what he's doing. He sighs, his voice back to normal. Yeah, sure. Shove your aunt's cock up your friggin' ass, buddy. My God. Let's make him mad. The passenger looks at you and lets out a bitter laugh. You can say that again, it didn't make him mad. Even the Arabs treat us like shit when they're wearing a uniform. Oh boy, this guy. A slow smile spreads over his face. Even Paris has got him, folks. And you know what's worse? He pulls a paperback out of his jacket pocket. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Good book. They wouldn't believe it was my book. He returns it to his pocket right away. I find that hard to believe as well, that this man is delving into the old classics of literature. It just doesn't seem like the type to me. For a second, you wonder if you imagined it. Yeah, right? The first thing they asked me was where I had stolen it. You know, like, there was no way I could own a book. You know, I gotta make sure that I'm, like, watching these guys, because I think, like, sometimes, like, this guy just pulled out something, I didn't see what it was. You know, it could have been a knife. And I know it said that you're supposed to pay attention to these guys, and this is definitely what we want to be paying attention to. Then the bastards took the book and flipped through it, every single page, to make sure I wasn't hiding anything like hash or some other shit. He flinches. Something in his features breaks. A crack has appeared. He's trying not to show it, but you see what's going on. You can't help it. The inner struggle. The humiliation. The sense of shame. It's just a book, he says. Do you like it? Is it a reading assignment? Do you like it? He looks up. Yeah, it's kind of like a revenge story, like all of the Hollywood movies we download so we don't have to pay for a ticket. Except that it takes place 200 years ago. It is a good book. And yeah, it's good. It really sucks what happened to the hero guy, and he spends the whole book planning his revenge. Big time. The guy's pretty messed up. This guy, he catches your eye in the rearview mirror. This guy seems like he is relating a little too heavily to this book. You realize he's not all worked up anymore. Are you sure about that? It's my girlfriend who gave it to me. Interesting. She likes Dumas. What else did she recommend? Well, believe me, man, it was pretty rough at first. First, she got me to read this book, Pride and something or other. Pride and Prejudice? Pride and something. Some English book. Yeah. Pride and Prejudice. There it is. Yeah, that's it. You read it too. My sisters do. My mom does. I saw the movie a long time ago, as did I. I'm not a fan. It's just not for me. I don't like the story. Sorry. Pause. They made a movie? Shit, I should have watched it. I didn't get through the whole thing, but she didn't mind. After she got me to read something like Balzac, and after that, The Count of Monte Cristo, she really wants me to read this book. He rolls his eyes, perhaps because he himself is so obsessed with this revenge and of some sort that, I don't know. I feel like we're being timed right now, so I probably shouldn't talk too long. By some Belgian woman, I think. You shrug. Who my girlfriend says wrote a book about this Roman emperor and his boyfriend, and that it's really amazing. He laughs to himself. I better not get caught by the cops with that one in my pocket. Or by my friends, for that matter. Yeah, we'll laugh at that. That was good. That was good. He finally got us to crack up without saying something slightly deranged. He looks up, his eyes shining. She forced me a little, and then I realized that Monte Cristo, he's one of us. How about that? I mean, his story, it's a lot like what goes on today. But I introduced her to new stuff too. There are these texts, rap lyrics that she really likes. Interesting. You should see her putting on a show and all, but the truth is she actually likes it. It's the same thing with readings, right? I mean, it had to be properly explained to me. I had to want to try it. That's fair. And that was it, man. I was on my way. He looks down. Something seems to be bothering him. The only thing is... He hesitates. My girlfriend, she's a cop. Ooh. Pretty weird, huh? Didn't see that coming. She's 37. She gets me to read books for rich people. And she works for the local police. He gestures vaguely towards someplace behind him. I was just at her place now. Man, she's one hell of a woman. She drives me crazy. She's so... He doesn't finish his sentence. You pull up at the address given by your fare. He lets out a sigh. You know, man, I don't know why the hell I just told you all that. No worries, because that's our job, man. That's what we're here for. It must be a real bummer, all these guys telling you their life stories. I bet it's quite interesting, actually. Excuse me. The passenger passes you money for the ride. I have to go. I punch in early tomorrow. He pauses, eyeing the time on the radio's LCD display. Or later on, I should say. That's interesting. A moment later, he vanishes into the night. That guy? Not totally sure what to make of that gentleman. I don't think he was a killer, but I would not put it outside the realm of possibility that he would be a killer. At least he paid us more than £3. 18 pounds in the night so far. half a tank of gas. I think we're looking okay. This gentleman's right here. We got time for a few more. Milo Reacher. He needs a cab and quick. He's going far. We're going to make $10 off this guy. You pull up in front of the American Embassy. You can't recall ever picking up a customer here. They probably have a fleet of their own. They probably do. Or a contract with a private company. The door opens. You take an immediate liking to the guy who gets in. Oh! The door opens. You take an immediate... Oh, okay. You find him somehow. Reassuring, like a lost tourist. He babbles something in English. You have to listen hard to make out the address. Sorry, I'm just back in Paris. I've forgotten my manners. He flashes you a sparkling smile. His voice is tinged with a slight American accent. You turn the key in the ignition. So this is probably not our guy, considering he's likely American. Thanks. What's your name, pal? You're surprised to hear him use a familiar to form straight off the bat. Hussein? Hussein? I don't know how to say that one. Nice to meet you, Hussein. He stares at you intently for a moment. My name is... He nods slowly, as if disheartened. If I reveal my name, I'll be left with no other choice. I'll have to kill you. That's... Considering the circumstances, that's a weird thing to say. He pauses way too long to be joking. Oh, God. This guy seriously just said that to us. His face darkens. It's a different man on the seat behind you. Now that we're alone, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, this guy lets it all out. And then his face creases into a grin. Hey, amigo, I'm joking. I work for the CIA, that's all. Okay. The CIA's not known for murdering people. You're an undercover agent, the CIA, so I guess you really get around. You could say that. Let me tell you, amigo, I'm always off traveling. I love traveling. So much for reducing my carbon footprint. He bursts into laughter. No wonder I'm a spy, eh, amigo? Silence hangs in the air. Your passenger seems to be formulating his thoughts. You married, amigo? You shake your head no. Got a girlfriend? Another negative nod. That's too bad. A good-looking guy like you two all alone? What a waste. He gazes absently out the window. Americans are like that. Laid back, yet distant. Maybe it's the booze, amigo, but I can't get this woman out of my head tonight. Man, what a woman. I'm not going to tell you where she's from. You'll just ask a ton of questions. And if you ask questions, I'm going to have to lie to you, pal. And with you, I don't want to lie. You look like you're a cheek type. I love that French expression. I really don't think it's this guy. Cheek type. A good guy. A far-off look comes over his face. Where's she from? So what's the story? He clears his throat, then falls into a long silence, as if wondering where to begin. It all started in this place, in Africa. Between you and me, pal, I really like Africa. People there are more alive. Serious. You just need to spend a couple of weeks there. No more than that, or you'll go nuts. You clench your teeth and remain perfectly still. We were working with this minister there, not a cheek type like you. A traitor. A real son of a bitch. Yeah, I can imagine. He stares blankly into space, wondering perhaps if he's divulging some big secret, and then continues his story. A note of bitterness has crept into his voice. Anyhow, the guy was getting difficult. We had two choices. Either convince him to see things our way, or sabotage his car, which probably cutting the brakes or something like that. And Princess Diana his ass. That's what makes work in Africa so easy. The cars, I mean. Every continent has its own little quirk, a way of getting things done without any trouble. I bet. In Africa, it's the cars. So I contacted the minister's family and met his wife. A lady, of course. What about the other countries? Well, let's stick with this story. I'm interested to see where this goes. She was so beautiful, amigo, such a beauty. His voice has slowed, like a worn-out LP. There was this fierceness in her eyes, you know what I mean? An animal spirit. A lopsided grin spreads over his drunken face. She said she didn't like the Americans, preferred the French with their straightforward ways. She made me laugh. When someone dies in Africa, there's always a Frenchman in the picture. Either supplied the bullet, the gun, or the guy who got shot. He runs his finger along the seam of his jeans. The material is heavy, almost coarse. She was so beautiful. He's gone off to some faraway time and place. You pull up to the address he'd given you, a bar that keeps late night hours. You make out snatches of animated conversation behind the lowered rolling shutter. Well then, I loved her. His voice is tinged with sorrow and regret. A love like no other, amigo, no other. What about her husband? We sabotaged his car and hit a tree at 180 kilometers an hour. Dude was flying. So that's also kind of on him for flying. There wasn't much left of her husband, amigo. I don't know what happened to her. Life there has its own internal logic, you know. All at once, he snapped out of his funk. This bar, amigo, is run by the Russians, dissidents from the Soviet era. The boss spent 10 years in the Gulag. Can you imagine? Oh man, that would suck. The Russians, those guys really know how to deal with prisoners. Oh boy, this guy's not in support of the Gulag, is he? That's where I would have sent that traitor. Snowden. Oh, it's Edward Snowden, I believe, is the traitor he's referring to. However, Edward Snowden didn't actually die. I believe he's still alive. Now it's the Russians who are protecting him. He breaks off and raps at the window. You drink with communists? Snowden? Yeah, we'll stick with the Snowden maybe. Anyhow, who cares? He was a traitor, a real son of a bitch. He reaches into his pocket and hands you a tip. This guy's the dude that in this universe assassinated Edward Snowden. That's kind of nuts. You hesitate a moment, then accept the crumpled note. As he exits the cab, he offers his parting words. Not a word about what I told you tonight, okay? His words hang ominously in the air. Not a word to anyone about this drive. He climbs out of the cab, howling with laughter. You sit there for a moment feeling pretty dumb. You start up the cab. Hey, you made $11.11 off this dude. He gave us a $1 tip. Alright. Oh, that's the end of night 1! You know more about your clients? Check the Pacidex menu for details. We'll take a look at that. Wow, so we lost $117 on night 1. That's insane. That's really unfortunate. That's like kind of concerning. We're on easy mode too. What? You listen to your boss's explanations. You've met Nadia and Yves. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's check the Pacidex menu. When given the opportunity. And here we are in our apartment, I guess. Thinking about the murder. Let's take a look at this Pacidex menu. Wow, look at all the people we got. We met Crookie the cat, which I do remember paid us pretty well. I think the cat actually paid us better than most of these people. We met this dude. This dude was kind of sketch. Oh wow, so it has like information about all of them. You met Milo. Wow, so we only got 2 of the 4 with him. We only got 1 of the 2 in meeting her. So we're not doing that well, it seems. Maybe some of these people that comes like the boss and the cop lady, probably more opportunities to get more out of them. This one we got, all we could do is meet this couple. Well, I believe that's where we're going to call it for episode 2 of Night Call, folks. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it from the absolute bottom of my heart. It means more to me than you know. And with all that, after all that, have a fantastic day as my dog howls. Peace out. Jellyfish out.